Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Red Road Paranormal, Rez and Christina coming at you. And we have a really cool guest tonight. It says Leigh Warner. Leigh. Her name is Leigh. So we have Leigh Warner, who is actually a really good friend for both of us, for both Rez and I. And she's got some pretty amazing stories to tell too. But before we get going on that, follow us by hitting that subscribe button, ringing that notification bell, and share, 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 share. All right. Hey, Rez, how's it going?
Pretty good. How you doing, Christina?
I'm doing really well.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of intrigued here to have Leah on the show, or I should say LA lady, quote the
LA
Doors
lady.
here.
Yeah.
If I would have known, if I realized that, I'd have queued up some music for her, entrance music, but I didn't catch that and you did.
Mm.
So,
Well,
what's up,
whenever I
Lee?
make art, that's the way I sign my name. So
Oh, yeah. I have some pieces of your art and they're beautiful.
thank
I
you.
don't.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
thought you loved
okay.
me. Where's my art?
Uh, it's up here.
Oh, okay. You
It
haven't brought
hasn't
it
it
out.
hasn't
Yeah.
quite escaped out of her hands yet.
Gotcha.
Yep.
See. See if I invite her to an investigation again.
That was a fun investigation we did though.
It
Hmm.
was. It was.
I've
Yeah.
actually been on two investigations with you,
Yeah.
Hmm. You've played in the woods and in haunted locations.
and I was on a old choo-choo train with you too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, was Rez there for that weekend?
Nope,
Not for the women's weekend.
Oh, but I
but I
was
stayed
I
in the
was at
same choo-choo
yeah.
though.
I've been on
Yeah.
the choo-choo with Rez too. So
Yeah,
Yep, but that's quite the cool train. I do like that train.
yeah. I think I'm gonna have to make a reservation for May for that train.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, my
cool.
name is Lee, and
Yeah.
I am not a professional, but
Who here is?
um, yeah,
Except for that
y'all
one.
are.
We
But
all
I
are.
have pretty much all my life have had pretty good intuition, and um, things were starting to, come at me that is like, okay, I really need to start developing and listening and trusting. So I had, as all good friendships start, I heard about Christina from somebody else, and then I started watching her shows, and I was like, oh, hey, yeah. And then I got to meet her just casual,
Mhm.
talking online and commenting. So I'm a fan.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
fangirl.
Thank
I'm a
you.
fan. I'm a fangirl. But so I took two of Christina's courses, the intuitive you. The first set were on a series of Zoom meetings, and then we were talking about doing the intuitive you too. And I said, hey, because Gail Christensen of Sacred Waterways
Mhm.
was on in that class too. And I said, well, I've heard about Gail's. I think we should have the class at Gail's. And it happened, and a lot of things happened.
I'm not sure we totally got to the class. I still have to get that information to you guys, but yeah, it was a lot happened that weekend. Yeah.
Yes, it was
There
a
usually is a lot of
very
stuff
special
happening up
weekend.
Yeah.
at Gales.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So that was a good class, and the I had one of my because I knew that Sabi
Hmm.
Gochinini Sasquatch is around Gail's property, and my goal was to have an interaction with them. And Gail knew that I had done this, but I had brought up some like blue glass because I, had heard that they like blue, and I had brought up like blue glass handmade beads. And there was, I put enough beads out for everybody who was in the class, and I put out a big circle one representing them. And it was, uh, it was at least it was like a day and a half, and um, I went. out, and on it she has like a gifting stump, and across the blue glass was this
Oh,
very
wow.
special bone that I was
Nice.
Mhm.
gifted. And
Yeah.
I do know that this, came from it is a deer, a small deer femur, and it's very old.
Mhm.
But that was it has some moss and stuff on it. So I got gifted that. That was my interaction, and I started to cry.
Yes.
And of course I said thank you. And then shortly after that, I would say a couple months after that, in our we just have an old basement, and we put down like a new rug scrap. Oh, puppy.
Hello, puppy.
And
They're saying hi to
squirrel.
you, Robbies.
Hi,
Say
Wobbies.
hi.
Hi,
Hi,
Robbies.
Wobbies. Hi, Wobby boy. But but anyway, so we had put down a new carpet there, and we had just laid it down, and I turned around, and right in the middle of the carpet was
Oh,
Oh,
blue glass.
nice.
this is the circle glass that I put on the gifting stump
Wow.
that
Yeah.
That's cool.
and so I contacted Gail and I told her, and she did her automatic writing, and I had thought it was one of the older ones, and she said no, it was oh, sorry, I should look at my notes. I think she said it was Lily because she was starting to practice to learn how to do things like that.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was another like thank you.
Right.
That's
Got chill
awesome.
bumps that
Mm-hmm.
now. And then I forgot when I was up there with Rez and Coral had went across, and I had some of the same blue.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
we had three, one for me, one for Coral, and one for Rez, and then we had one for them. And well, when I got up to Carol, when I got up to Gail's, um, I had noticed that most of the beads were gone. There were still a few there, but they were just the small beads. And I had forgot to tell you and Coral, but before I left, I left the gifting stump, and the one that we left across the river, that was
Yep.
the large circle, was on the gifting stump.
Okay.
So for them to acknowledge that they knew we
Yeah.
were over there, and it was after we gave them the bag of goodies too. So there's a lot of things that happen up at Gale. So
Yeah.
if
A
y'all
lot
don't
of
know,
really cool stuff happens at Gale's.
yeah, if y'all
Yes.
don't know Gail, get to know her. And I know Christina had her first channeling of
Mhm.
Bagochi Nini up there, and I got to witness the second and third one. But in the second one, it was one of the males, and I know Christina's not there.
Yeah.
So she doesn't know what's happening, but
Yeah.
they're like, do you have any questions for us? And at one time when I was up at my in-law or my sister-in-law's property up in Chippewa, Wisconsin, I had done like a tobacco thing with my friend's mom, who's Chippewa, and I had done, honoring. She had passed, so I was honoring her there. And when I was walking back to the back cabin, there was a feather sticking up in the middle of the pathway, and I was just like, so I asked Sabi if that was them that left me the feather. And his answer was, we don't have feathers. I was like, that was
Well,
interesting. That was
yeah.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
know Christina doesn't know anything about that because she wasn't there. And then
Right.
It was coming out of my mouth, but I wasn't there.
yeah, she wasn't there.
Yeah.
And
Lights
then
are on, but nobody's
Nobody's
home.
home. Well, somebody was home. It just wasn't
somebody was
me.
home. And then and I asked, was there anything that we can do, I can do to for you? And they said, why do you call it hunting Bigfoot? are you going to shoot us? Are you going to kill us? Are you going to eat us? And I said, okay. So whenever I have the opportunity, I will tell everybody, please don't call it hunting Bigfoot. Um,
Right.
you're looking for interaction. You're looking, researching, but don't call it hunting because that offends them. Even though he
I
didn't say that, but it was, yeah, I wouldn't want to say someone say I'm going hunting Leigh.
Right,
It's like, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
that wouldn't be good.
Exactly.
Yeah, I had a little similar story like that. My wife had mentioned something to my grandson about because they watched the Cabs channel and the Finding Hiding and all that specials. And she asked him, "Well, you want to go Bigfoot or you want to go Bigfoot hunting with Papa?" No. She goes, "Well, are you a Bigfoot?" No, I don't want Papa to hunt me. And and it took her back for a minute, but she's like, "Yeah, well, he doesn't go hunting them. He just goes looking for them. He wants
Yes.
to talk to them."
Yes.
So,
Yes.
So
I
that's
love it because you have
that's
such a
good.
great memory. You remember all this stuff and you take great notes too.
yeah, she
So
does.
a lot of stuff happens through me that I'm not aware of, and then you take notes and tell me about it later, and I have to sit there and go, "Wow, really? Damn."
Yeah. That's what. And when
Yeah.
when the female came through, she was not speaking any language, but I have some deaf friends, and I have some taken some sign language classes, and you were definitely there was a lot I was understanding through your gestures. So when
Okay.
yeah, you make a lot of movements, but the movements make sense
Right.
or someone, it was just like I was writing down the things that I was seeing in your movements for that.
Right. And
So,
I know that she was speaking through me, but she was speaking their own language, not
yes.
English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So that was very interesting for everybody. And looking at Christina, she got bigger, but then it's
Had like
it
a 5 o'clock shadow.
she got a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
I was just her she got her face got square, which I wouldn't
Mhm.
call you normally have a square face, but your face definitely got your chin got square and you got a 5 o'clock shadow. I was just like, wow.
Yeah, Gail actually sent me the recordings. She did video on her phone
Oh,
the second day
yeah,
when yeah, when I could not teach because I was so overwhelmed with the power of that energy coming through me.
yeah.
Do you have anybody else in that room with you, Leigh?
Hmm. Oh, that's Mr. Todd
Well, I
is
seen
let
some
Yeah.
reflecting off your picture and back for a
oh
split
yeah, that was
second.
Todd. Todd was taking the dogs in and out. My
Oh,
friend
okay.
my friend Denny had a surgery today, so everybody please
Okay.
send her positive healing. So we are watching her baby girl Bailey
Okay.
Okay.
for her. So and that's my life. Dogs in and out 50
Yeah.
Yeah.
million
50
times a
times a
day.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
they're good dogs, so
Yeah.
don't mind that. But yeah, no, that was Todd going back and forth, letting the dogs in and out. So
Sorry, it wasn't paranormal.
no,
Right. Just
sorry.
making sure, make sure I'm not seeing things and yeah.
But
Yeah.
so the first sort of paranormal things that happened to me when I was little, and I'm
Mhm.
talking under 5 years old. I lived on Dixon Street, 93rd and Dixon in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is pretty like between the state fair and the zoo. And behind us, we had a large power transformation station. And I used to have these dreams as a child where I remember I couldn't move and there was metal tube over me. I was afraid of the laundry chute because it was galvanized steel in the back and it reminded me of that. Um, and then I also remember like going in the basement and because I would tell my mom about my dreams because back then I didn't really know how to express it,
Mhm.
but I knew they weren't normal dreams. And I was like 4, so I didn't know anything about aliens or
Hmm.
anything like that. This was in the, 60s, late 60s. And I went in the basement and I remember seeing 3 what I called motorcycle men because they were like all in leather and they had big heads like they had helmets on. I don't
Hmm.
remember seeing their faces. And then I remember we would know they were coming and we would have to hide that, you know. And then I remember once um our closets had like little doors into the eaves and we were going to back there to hide, and I was bringing my Barbie case with me and it spilt open and it fell all over in front of the door, and my one sister yelled at me. She said, "They're going to know where we're hiding because that's right there." And I have asked my sisters that, and they said no. They remember me talking about aliens, but they don't remember anything like abductions or anything. Luckily, I don't remember anything about. The only thing I remember is seeing the metal like tube above me, like I was moving, like I was laying down on a table, couldn't move, and I could see metal. I was being transported and I could see metal. That's about the only thing, excuse me, that I remember um, inside of the craft. And so my sister Sean married the guy next door, so I've known her in-laws my whole life. His mom and dad were my grandma and grandpa Sarah because I literally grew up next to them. And so therefore, when they were in an apartment, their dog Bruiser lived in like a kennel behind the next door neighbor's house. And it was at night, and I was out in a field with Bruiser. And then I remember seeing a light coming towards me and beeping, beep, beep, beep. And I like fell down and I couldn't move. And telepathically, even though I didn't know what it was, then I told Bruiser to run because I can't move so they don't get him. And then I would wake up. And then,
Do you wake up in the same spot every
That's what I was
time,
going to
or
yeah, I,
ask.
I
did
would
you wake
wake.
up at home?
Well, see, I had like a memory that I woke up at like 84th and Blue Mound with my family once.
Hmm.
So, but it was still in dream format. It was still, but this is, a little 4-year-old kid doesn't dream things like this. But that
Right.
that happened over, a few years. Every once in a while I would have one of those dreams. And then and I looked it up. So in October of 1972 or 73, something like that, is when they televised the Betty and Barney Hill story on TV. And of course,
Yeah.
back then we had one TV in the living room. We would all watch TV, and we were watching it. And then their abduction story on the TV, there was this light coming and it started making the same beep, 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 and I started screaming
Hmm.
that's the same noise that the aliens were making in my dream that came and got me and Bruiser,
Hmm.
and so 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 70. So I was 5 or 6. I don't, when that came out. So, but, and then I would remember that I would also be scared and hide under my covers because the aliens were going to come and get us and I didn't want them to find me. That was like a waking. I remember doing that when I was awake. Also, when I was in second grade, um, my nose used to bleed really bad. The right side of my nose would bleed really bad. It got so bad there was like a clot that was hanging out of my nose, and so my mom had to take me to the doctor. And the doctor pulled out the clot, and he was looking up there, and he had to cauterize it. And he said that it was a there was a pretty substantial cut in my nose. And my mom said, "Well, that's from her picking her nose." I'm like, "Thanks, mom." And the
That's
doctor's
what
like,
I was thinking.
my
Should have been digging
doctor,
so deep.
yeah, my doctor's like, "Oh no, she can't reach there." And that's not, this is not, I don't know what did it, but he had to like literally cauterize something like way up here in my nose so it would stop
Wow.
bleeding. But yeah, so
You
I
ever
guess
had
I
like
have.
a MRI done of your face or anything like that?
No,
Any kind of
no, I never
scans?
did. No.
I almost wonder if that was like an implant or something that
Yeah.
they put in to track you or kind of see things.
Yeah, exactly. That's it probably was, or it was in there and it fell out. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, so I have physical evidence of
Mhm.
something happening to me because I had to go to the doctor for it. Um, but then when I was in fourth grade, we moved from Milwaukee to the town of South Milwaukee, and I don't remember anything. I never had those type of dreams again. So I don't know if it was something to do with the power transformation station behind us. It was
Mhm.
pretty substantial and large. So
Mm.
I know you two are from Wisconsin, so I don't know if you've ever
No,
heard of Cannon Park.
I'm from Chicago originally, sweetheart.
Oh,
I've
yeah, but
heard of
yeah,
it. I don't know
Yeah,
where it is off the top of my
I,
head.
yeah.
I
But our house, there was woods and then big field where the power transfer station was, and then
Mhm.
uh,
our house and Cannon Park was behind all of that. So,
okay.
Okay.
so that's and I remember when I first started talking to Christina, I told her about this, and I was just like, well, I wonder if I should do regression. And Christina's like, well, it sounds like you sort of remember a lot, even though
All right.
Yeah.
I
Some bits and
remember it as
pieces.
dreams that happened.
Yeah.
And I sort of decided just like, well, maybe I really don't want to know what they did to me.
Right.
Well,
It,
You
there
know,
and
is
it ended
that.
up
Yeah.
being kind of like that movie, the fourth kind, where everyone's seeing owls and they realize it's not owls. They start having the memories of
yeah,
what happened to
the
them.
owls are not what they seem
Yeah.
from
Right.
Twin Peaks.
Uh-huh.
So,
So yeah, maybe you don't want to unlock that door, but me
yeah.
personally, I don't think I can handle not knowing. I think knowing them bits and pieces would drive me nuts wanting to know more. But that's just the type of person I am.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so it's been over 50 years, over 55 years, that I've had these memories of these dreams. And I can remember them, all these details like it was yesterday. That
Yeah.
So
stuff
that's
that
Well,
hasn't
if you
pretty
ever
faded.
if you ever
embedded.
want to do the regression, let me know.
Yeah. And that's what I was and then I was watching another thing and they had someone who does hypnogressions and I was or hippo regressions.
Hippo
I was at
regression.
the zoo,
Right?
and
Hey
That
man,
was a
it's
previous lifetime.
I'll take the gorilla one, please.
but yeah, so maybe I will. I mean, because I mean definitely trust Christina. So it's like, and I know it would be memories at this time. And I really don't have other memories of when that happened. I do remember when I lived in Florida and I lived with my sister in Florida, and one time I fell asleep like facing the wrong way on my bed. And I remember waking because something was like cradling my head and stroking my
Okay.
hair. And I woke up, no, get away from me.
Good little
So
Lee. Good little Lee.
that's a nice little pet. Um,
Wow.
so that was something else. And then one time, because I used to be in the Air Force, and when we were pulling alert, we would be in these buildings that were sort of semi underground with no windows. So it'd be like completely dark in there.
Mhm.
But this could have just been something else that was there. I sort of remember something else being in the room with me, and it had a very, very alien presence to it.
Okay.
So,
Well, military, yeah, that's very likely that there
See,
was an
yeah,
alien
I'm
presence
glad
there.
you
yeah,
brought that up because I
Yeah.
was
yeah.
going to
Yeah.
But
ask
they
you. I
they
didn't
couldn't
know
have,
how to approach the military question.
yeah. That would have been a bad place to abduct me because we were pulling alert. So if we had to go, if I didn't show, there would have been a massive search
Yeah.
for me.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Right.
where did she go? She's in a locked facility. So,
Yeah.
but so that's what I remember for my alien abduction of things that had happened. Um, knowing now and knowing it's like I know it happened, but when I was a little kid, I remembered it as dreams. Um, I don't really remember anything bad happening to me.
Hmm.
But, I mean, I did have that in my nose. So, something happened and I
Yeah.
don't feel like it happens anymore. So thank you. Knock on wood.
Right.
Okay.
Find a picture frame.
Yeah, I just did my abyss one. And then so then about the age when I was hit puberty, I started having dreams about airplanes crashing. And that that was something that was clairvoyant.
Hmm.
One a plane would crash within a week or two of that happening. It took a while for me to realize that that was happening. I saw both of the shuttles, or I knew something happened with the shuttles before
Yeah.
they happened. And then I went in the Air Force and I flew and it stopped. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't have been a good thing to be in the Air Force flying and having, dreams
Dreams.
about
Yeah.
airplanes crashing.
Crashing. Yeah.
And then it was just this past year, I was out on my deck on my break from work, and I looked up in the sky and there was an airplane. I was like, oh, this isn't right. And it was a big airplane and it was flying really low. The landing gear was down and it was white and had like a yellow Nike swoop on it. I was just like, oh, crap. It's happening again. I'm like, but this time I'm awake.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, so I said, you know what? Because back in the day, like the only person I would tell my sister Joe about it, and so she knew that I knew beforehand, and she's like, oh, every once in a while she would say, yeah, an airplane crash. So, as a matter of fact, the last shuttle that came down, I had been sleeping, and she called me up and said, so did you have a dream about the shuttle crashing? This was after I was in the Air Force and had gotten out and everything. I was like, yeah, why? She's like, the shuttle crashed, I was like, no. I was like, oh. But then it didn't happen for a long time. But anyway, so I was out
Hmm.
and I saw this airplane and I was like, okay, so I'm going to do it. So if anybody wants to go on my Facebook page, you'll see I posted white airplane. Yeah, I think I just said yellow stripe, not swoop. I just posted what details that I could landing gear down, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I was like, okay. And then like a week later, someone had said, hey, did anything come on that? And I'm like, I don't know. I never looked it up. And I looked it up and it was the next day. Um, Airplane crashed in Brazil. And
Wow.
they had a picture of it and it was a white airplane with a yellow swoop on it. And then the most recent airplane that crashed that got hit by the helicopter, I didn't dream about that, but I could have swore I was in the garage talking to Todd about it, my boyfriend Todd about it, and he had said, "Well, what about the one that crashed into the building?" I was like, "What airplane that crashed in the building?" Of course, that was the day before the other airplane crashed in the building. So,
Hmm.
and I asked him, I said, "Did you?" He's like, "We never had that conversation." I was like, "Okay, well, there it goes again." But and I already said that that was the most useless psychic gift ever to know that airplanes were going to crash and not know anything else. But I did ask Gail, who is a messenger for the messengers, and she did her. So sorry, it's on my phone. It goes sideways. So she asked the grandmothers
Hmm.
what this was about with me. And it says that I am one of the angels that soars in the jet stream, along with others. And what I do is I know so I can be there and help the ones peacefully leave.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Um, there
so
there have been
that's
a
said of
number of
me.
plane crashes in the last month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many of those have you been alerted to those?
No.
No. Okay.
So it's only apparently when there's a soul or souls on the airplane that need me to
Okay.
go. But I don't remember going there and helping them. I don't
Hmm.
have a memory of that, but I know about it beforehand. So I'm hoping, my higher self soul is going there and doing
Right. I was
this.
going to say a different aspect of you is helping.
A different
Yeah.
aspect of me is doing that
Yeah.
and helping. So, and I was like, thank you, Gail, because okay, it's not a worthless, it's not like the most worthless psychic gift ever. It's not. I have a purpose. Um,
I know how you
so
feel
that
though,
was pretty
because I
cool.
used to get that with earthquakes. And I'm like, why are you giving me information I can't do anything with? What am I going to do to stop an earthquake, for heaven's
Yeah.
sakes?
Right.
That's at
You
one
know?
time in Florida, I had a waking where I was on the beach and I felt the earth quaking, and then the big one in Mexico City, like in the
Hmm.
late 80s, happened. So yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
got an idea here. Not to
okay.
interrupt. You had it about earthquakes, you had it about planes. Do you ever think maybe this is the way the creator was kind of trying to get you to believe in yourself and trust in your intuition so
Yeah.
you could advance to another level?
Yeah. Especially
Because,
this where it
Possibly.
started up again this
yeah,
Hmm.
because
past
most of
summer.
us, we second guess ourselves. We're our
Hmm.
worst enemies with this.
I
Hmm.
was already
So,
like 15 years into doing readings at that point.
but did you believe in yourself 100% wholeheartedly at that point?
I
Or
think
did you
so.
still
Yeah.
question yourself?
I wasn't questioning myself.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
And yeah, when it starts this past summer when it started up again, because I think it was in June.
Okay.
Um, it was right after we had our second class, and
Right.
um, yeah, and that's it for everybody else who's like, I'm still learning, but I'm learning to trust myself more and to when something comes across to say it. That's what
Right.
the other day I asked you about the about the Cheerio treats and I'm like, I'm making this for somebody and I've never put butterscotch in them before.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Yeah.
so and they're gone already. So
Are they?
but they
Good.
didn't mysteriously disappear.
They just disappeared, not
They just
mysteriously.
disappeared.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for following that intuition and making those.
Yeah.
I
That's
appreciate
what
that.
I'm that your classes have helped me trust.
Yeah. And I think we're all growing and learning. And
Yeah.
I don't know if what we're all learning all the time is to trust ourselves, but we're all growing and learning something.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I have a theory that the day you stop learning is the day they put you in the ground. And then you
Yeah.
start over all over it again on the other side.
Well, once you're on the other
Hmm.
side, you know everything, or
For the
you
most
have it.
part,
You
yeah.
you have the ultimate access to the God Google.
Yep. You
Right.
just plug right in,
Hmm.
plug right
You
into
don't have to use a
source
search
and
bar anymore. You
No.
got the instantaneous access. So
Right. Exactly. Exactly. It's I know that while we were doing those classes, um, you were one of the people who was easy to connect and disconnect. Like it was a really easy thing for you to do to connect and disconnect. And some people really struggle with that, and you received it well too. So it wasn't just sending the energy, it was receiving the energy as well.
yeah,
And
and that well, that class helped a lot because especially when we did the psychometry, and I got
Mhm.
even though I got a couple things backwards, I mean, but I got okay, this was you bought the stone. It wasn't a gift. It's for a pet. And the person who bought the stone for themselves, but they were the pet to an archangel. And she bought
Okay.
the stone
Yeah.
representing the archangel to remind her she's his pet, or a, I don't know if he is a correct phrase to call an archangel, but I guess their name's Michael. So, I got to humanize it. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I mean that good affirmation. And then I got to there's some guy on Alaska at the Omni Center. It was like a Christmas fair, and he had these really nice like walking sticks and stuff.
Hmm.
He's like, So guess what this says? I was like, oh, okay, you're inviting me. So I grab onto it and I said, it's a name. He's like, yep. I said, okay, is it your name? He's like, no. I'm like, is it Yahweh? And he's like, yes, it is. I think I freaked him out. See, it was in what's the Jewish, what's the language of
Oh, it was
Hebrew?
Hebrew? Yeah, it was in
Hebrew.
Hebrew.
Yeah.
So, and no, I don't know how to read Hebrew, but so I got that. So that was, and then yeah, so I freaked him out. You're welcome.
Now is it Yahweh or Yahweh?
Yeah, I think it was Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yeah.
So if I'm not mistaken, I think over in Australia, Bigfoots are Yowies over there.
Yahweh's, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But Yahweh is a word for God.
yeah, I think it's God is
Yeah.
with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alexa, no.
Right?
Let me
Just
just
get
consult
Yahweh
the
me.
oracle on my phone.
Yeah.
Oh, great Google.
No.
Or
So I've
DuckDuckGo, which
just,
one do you use?
yeah. I use Google because it's on my work computer. So
That's what
Yeah.
I
so
use.
that's what so I've been having it's been a I've always had intuition and it's like, oh, we need to leave this place. This place isn't good, things
Mhm.
like that. But it's really it's developing and I'm working on it. And I've always said that I have the power of discernment, which is uh I don't always know when people are lying to me, but if I hear something and it's like that's true, that's true, that's true, so
Mhm.
that's a gift that I've known I've had a long time.
So,
So
so you got a true button, like I got a BS button.
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I do know I usually can tell when someone's BSing me, but if they're a good liar or if they're darker, it takes me a while. But
Mhm.
the last time I had something dark come after me or tried to get in my energy field, I had just taken Christina's class,
Oh, there you go. There you
and
go.
I literally heard in because I don't hear clear audience, I don't hear it, but I heard, don't let her touch your lighter. Don't,
Mhm.
so, and then she kept trying to get into my space and I felt it and I kept backing up. So,
Yeah.
Flip that trailer ball.
yeah,
Hitch up.
trailer
Hitch up.
hitch,
Yep. Trailer
trailer
hitch.
hitch. Well, I say I have a gyroscope that goes
Yeah.
around.
Hey,
Disco
if it
ball.
works, it works. I don't
Yeah,
care what you
disco ball.
use.
Yeah,
As long as
yes,
it works, I don't care what you use.
Yep. See, I just bubble up.
yeah.
Just plain old fashioned bubble.
Yeah.
So,
I'm a more concrete thinker than that. Like it has to be solid.
And see, since I've heard that from you,
Yeah.
that's what I've been teaching those that come and ask for my information. I'm like, my bestie here put it the best way. Trailer hitch. Them
Yep.
things are solid, they don't break, nothing can penetrate them, and damn do they freaking hurt.
yes,
Yes, they do.
shins. Yeah,
I've
yeah.
had some really nasty bruises from trailer
Oh yeah.
hitches.
I've thought I've
Yeah.
broken a shin a few times running into them.
Yep.
You think stuff's broke. You can barely walk afterwards.
Right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
they hit you right in that good spot.
Oh
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Won't be surprised if I have a dent if I actually felt around in my leg.
Probably. Probably. So, Lee, with all of this learning and all of this stuff that you're doing, is there a specific focus or are you just kind of letting it come to you as it comes?
yes, letting it come to me as it comes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Just rolling with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
I did take a Terry Flick's Reiki course. So
Mm-hmm.
I, I probably give Reiki more to animals than I do to people.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So, and that I just because well when I got the at the I went to the Oshkosh and the Oh, I should know his name. But anyways, when he gave it to me, because he was just like your throat chakra. It's like because I was thinking afterwards, I was like, when I do a Reiki, I don't even think about people's chakra. I just try and concentrate where they need energy and try to help.
Right.
So, but
Right.
I only took one class, so
Well, and the thing is that you're so intuitive that you just do it the way you need to do it.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I try.
I
I try with that.
I don't always think about the chakras either when I'm doing healing, but
Yeah,
like you, I just let it go where it needs to go and follow it. And if I need to do something extra boost or whatever, I assume that whoever's guiding me will tell me that. Plus, when you're giving Reiki or any kind of energy healing, you're not giving it, they're
yeah,
pulling it from you,
yeah.
right? So it just funnels through you and they get what they need.
You're a conduit to
Yeah,
help
because you
Yeah,
kind of
focus.
the
you
hollow
take
eagle bone.
that crown and you open it up to the universe, right? And you let
Yeah.
the universe come in through you and
Hmm.
you channel it right out.
Yep.
I
Yep.
try.
That's the way it works. And and in giving energy to people or when I'm I don't know if you've had this yet, okay? Because you do work mostly on animals and when they're done, they just get up and walk away.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
And cats really resent that we think we know anything at all about
Oh yeah,
energy. Yeah.
yeah.
But
I got a cat right here sucking up to me. So I'm gonna
usually
say
they're
hi.
giving energy.
Oh,
Yeah.
now you're being
But
Yeah.
stubborn.
have you I don't know if you've had this, but when you're giving
Aw.
Reiki or when you're giving Reiki and the energy isn't moving. Have you ever had that? Like you're trying to help somebody, but the energy isn't moving?
They're
Yeah.
blocking it.
So,
Not
well,
necessarily. I'm going in a different direction here.
so one time I was giving Reiki to Todd and I was like and went into it. It was like you need to go
Hmm.
grab some magnets. So I put a magnet on each shoulder,
Hmm.
and then I grabbed my drum and I started whacking, whacking, beating my drum over him. And he said he felt it like release whatever. So
Right. That's just what I was going to get to. When you are going to do a healing with someone and no energy is going in, it's because they need to release energy.
ah,
So you turn your hands upside down.
oh yeah, I remember you telling
Yep,
me.
like you do with a headache
Yeah,
to release a headache. But I usually put my hands like upside down on their shoulder and just let the energy flow out of them because it's too much. They have too
yeah,
much energy. They've been holding on to something and they need to release the energy. And it's not something I learned from any of my Reiki training.
yeah.
That's just something that my guides went, flip your hands over. And then it felt like a gush of air coming out of my hands. So, yeah,
So
sometimes people are just holding
yep.
on too much.
I was like, I need my drum. So
And
hang
that did the
on,
same
don't
thing.
move.
That did the same
Yep,
thing, right? Because it
exactly.
vibrated it out of him.
Out of him.
Yeah,
Yep.
rather than putting more in.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you for helping me.
Yep, exactly. When we listen to those experiences, sorry, somebody just moved the tags on my tea bag like they just kind of looked.
We're talking about moving energy and air.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been hearing phantom noises since we've been doing this. I don't know if any of them have been caught on the recording
Oh.
or not, but when I
Well,
listen
I
back,
don't
I'll
know
be
because
able
I
to
put
tell.
my headset on, which helps me with my, my airplane ears.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So,
oh, and that's one
yeah.
thing too. So I'm always um there's a noise that I recognize from when I was little. It's like when an airplane's flying over, but it's a certain noise or hertz or frequency of an airplane, and it always makes me like freeze up. And when I used to have a wood headboard, I used to grab because I mean, even as an adult, when I would hear it at night, I would grab onto that
Okay.
because it was like it must be the noise that I heard when I was little. That just reminded me that
Yeah.
the noise that I heard when I was little. I would grab on for dear life to that. So, because I didn't want to be taken again. So,
Right. I totally understand that. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I've been hearing some low flying air traffic lately. Have you guys been
Not
getting
here.
that? Not
I'm
there?
federal airspace.
ah,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
yeah, I have, but I live by the Dodge County Airport too. So there
Okay.
are some flying aircrafts around too
Right.
that that are there. But yeah.
Yeah, I've
And
been
it's
hearing
been too cold to go out and see the drones that are flying over us too
right. I
at
mean,
night.
it sounds like helicopters and it's usually around midnight.
Mm.
So I thought that was kind of weird. And I asked my husband, and he's like, I didn't hear anything. Hmm.
You talk about them drones. I want to say Stu was talking something around about a week or two ago. He heard something right around midnight.
Okay.
And, because he's out in the trailer, so he's going to hear more than I do because his walls are
Mm.
thinner.
Right.
It's kind of
Interesting.
odd. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially unless it's well, and who's up in the middle of winter flying their toy drone at midnight
Right.
too,
Right.
and
Oh,
you're
come on.
federal airspace. Yeah.
They're over in
So,
Jersey for how long?
yeah.
Apparently they still are. People just stopped talking
Hmm.
about it.
Or the news stopped
Or the
reporting it.
news stopped
Yeah.
reporting it. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was watching, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the comedian Josh Johnson,
Oh,
but he was talking about that. He was talking about how, there's like this big news story and then they stop talking about it, but it's still happening.
Hmm.
And he said, for me, it's the drones. Still happening, but nobody's talking about it. Like it's
right.
Except
not
for
on social,
podcasts. Yeah.
except for podcasts. Yeah, but like it's not, no, people aren't talking about it on social media anymore. People are, it's not on the news anymore. We've moved on to the next
Yeah.
freaky thing or whatever. So,
So
yeah.
I belong to Strange, Wisconsin, and there have been in the past few weeks a few people posting the drones flying over their house on
I
Strange,
do too. I belong
Wisconsin.
to that same group and I've
Yeah.
seen those too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do know. So, and another thing too, that I'm going to be, so I'm more of a, I'm not a professional, so I don't do anything, but I participate a lot. So,
Oh, the
there is
CE5 stuff?
the CE5.
Yeah.
So in, the weekend of June 6th, Zach from the Central Wisconsin CE5
Hmm.
group is having a camperoo. So,
Right.
and that he does the CE5, which is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, where with good heart and attention, you call out and ask
Right.
for a friendly and peaceful
Hmm.
experience. Um,
There's
the
also
when,
different tones involved with that you project out into the universe. And
Hmm.
yeah.
yeah,
So So in when I was up at Gales with Rez, we sort of did that too. And I think didn't you get a picture? So we saw a couple things at night, but then we were just sitting, no one had their camera. We were just sitting around the fire talking. And I saw something coming from across the river woods. It was just, a silver cylinder. And so finally I said, I'm like, okay, does anybody else besides me see this? And everybody turns around and look, they're like, oh my God. And then I think Coral went running
coral.
to Res for you to take a picture of it. So I don't know if you
Yep.
ever got a picture of that.
No, by the time I got down there, I
But
couldn't get it.
yeah, but it went all the way across, all the over Gales, and then went. But
Yeah.
yep.
We did a CE5 the first time I went to Gales.
Ah,
There was a bunch of us. And yeah, there was some activity. I don't know how clear it was. Some people seem to see it more clearly than others.
yeah.
But
Well, and it's all about frequency and vibration and
hmm.
Yep. I got to take part with that with the team. If anyone ever
yeah.
wants to see that, find it right on the YouTube channel.
Oh, I saw that
Wisconsin
I
one. That's
watched
when
Gaps.
it.
you were in
Yeah.
Appleton.
Yep.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
watched
I
that
saw
There was
that
too.
one.
actually two different locations we did it at.
Okay. I saw the one in Appleton at the park where I used to go and play
Yeah, that's
volleyball.
where I saw.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
So, but I said 2025 is the year of Bigfoot. So
Hmm.
that's all I gotta say about that. No, I don't know anything, but I've been saying 2025 is the year of Bigfoot. But I'll be going to the CAPS Paracon in May.
I will be there. I'm
I
actually
know
a
you're a
sponsor
sponsor for
for
there.
that event. Rez will be his beautiful face will be right at the front door.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
So
Yes,
that's
you must
exciting.
pay me to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't get past me, you don't get in.
Well, let me just say, Leigh supports her friends. I was the first one to buy tickets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
Lee does support her
She
friends.
Yes,
does.
I do.
She's very
Me
good
and
at
Lee
that.
have spent time at Paracons together. We've
Uh-huh.
spent time out in the woods together. Yep.
Yep. So yeah, and I'm doing the VIP dinner and the Bigfoot hike. I'm not doing the paranormal investigation on Sunday though,
Yeah.
because I'm camping that weekend. I'll be at High Cliff State Park, which is sort of close to the convention center, but not that close.
Yeah.
And so Sunday I'll be packing up
Gotcha.
Hank. Hank
Packing
is
up
Tank to
Hank.
tank.
Hank the Tank,
Thank
that's the name of my camper. So I'll be so I'm not going to the Paracon, but oh, and I have seen a couple ghosts in my life before
hmm
I went on the paranormal investigations. I was in the basement of the Audubon Inn in Mayville, which is haunted,
hmm
and I saw an apparition out of the corner of my eye. When I told the manager, he's like, "What did you see?" And I described it to him. He's like, "Yep, you saw what everybody else sees." So I was like,
Yep.
"Cool." But the bar and restaurant area was locked, and we heard walking above there, and no one was up there.
hmm
So I have seen a couple. I've seen three that I know of
Yeah.
Okay.
in my life. So, and then when we did the pair at that bar restaurant,
Yeah,
I
the
got
one
the
out in the
names.
country. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the
Mhm.
names. So that was cool. Good affirmation that,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah, that
getting
was
it.
kind of an intense
That was
investigation
a
that
very
we,
interesting night.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was standing back and I was staring, but I could sort of see when you guys were asking the thing to leave or telling the thing to
Yeah, I
leave.
was gonna say we didn't exactly ask.
No,
No,
no, you didn't.
We had to
no,
put our foot down
it
that
was
night.
attempting to hurt people. It needed to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it was, I could see, I could sort of, and it was just, um, I used to get migraines more than I do now, but auras or
Uh-huh.
the little like flashing beep, 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 where
Yep.
you're the vision goes, that's what I could see. I could see. I was like,
Okay.
The
I could
energy.
see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also wanted to just one thing I am doing that I am sponsoring is 2 weekends after. So the weekend of June or May 30th through June 1st, I'm helping sponsor the Falling Outdoors, doing a Squatch America Bigfoot expedition
Oh,
with
cool.
Scott and Hannah Valet. We're
Nice.
going to um, it's a campground that I've been to several times, and the last time I was there, I saw huge stick structures without. We were just sitting around talking. And I was just like, and of course,
Yeah.
Gail and Coral with me. There's a
Of
theme with
course.
those girls. Um,
Right?
we were just sitting there. took them to the back campground, and we were sitting around. I met the other, meet the other people that were there, and I went, "Oh my God!" I'm like, because I just sat down. I was like, "You guys, you need to turn around and look at this." And it was the weekend after, or 2 weeks after the last CAPS convention in Marinette. I'm
Okay.
like, "Do you guys?" I'm like, "You guys got to turn around and look." And they were like, "Oh my God!" It was a huge, huge X, and we found a bunch of other stuff out there. So that's where we're going.
Awesome.
It's the River Forest campground in the Nicolay Forest, and they're giving us the whole cul-de-sac
Okay.
as for the
Nice.
fallen outdoors, which is veterans taking veterans out camping, fishing, hunting,
Nice.
Bigfoot expedition. So we're just and the fallen outdoors is sponsoring 10 veterans, but basically they're letting us just $10 a night per person there, per veteran is all we have to pay. We're not paying for the campsites. So
Nice.
they're giving us the whole cul-de-sac to be there. So
Yeah.
that's cool. And I've had I'm gathering up just like a little because one of the things Scott, because we had, two people lose their lives in Washington State to hypothermia when they were out Bigfoot hunting. So Scott has been doing a series on his YouTube channel about survival skills.
Yeah, that's important.
So I've gathered a few things about to make a little survival kit for everybody to take with them. So I've
That's
had some
awesome.
people
That's
sponsor some
awesome.
of this stuff. Yeah. So I'm excited to do that. So that's like the big thing I'm sponsoring this summer.
Cool. At that time I will be at CryptidCon UK, so I will be overseas when you're doing
Cool.
that for my
Did you
first trip.
did you find my crate yet?
No, I haven't found one that size yet.
How about a coffin that size? Put me in a coffin, right?
Oh, I have a
I,
little guy knocking on the door. Come in.
Oh,
Lee, you
Are
mentioned the
you going to come in and
veterans.
say hi to my friends?
Second weekend of August, we have our veterans powwow right down the road from my house, and I got plenty of room for Hank the Tank in my backyard.
well, I will be there second week of August.
Oh, oh,
That's
Papa's
Res.
coming
always
in to get him.
Oh, hey,
always the second
Lucian.
weekend.
Everybody says hi to Lucian.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, Lucian.
Oh, he can't hear you. Okay, now
Oh,
say it.
hi, Lucian.
What's up, buddies?
I'm almost done.
Aw.
I'm almost done, and I'll be right with you.
Cry on my shoulder. Mama's so mean.
I know, Mama's mean.
See you guys. You're getting to see this. This is all raw,
Yeah.
uncut, unedited. You
Unedited.
get us set at the real deal here.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. He almost made it on camera, but Papa got him.
Ah,
Oh, darn. That Papa.
I tell ya.
Papa.
Rez, what are
oh,
you up to this summer? Like you
Yeah.
got to have something going on, right?
Well, he's going to be at the CAPS convention. He's going
Yeah,
to be
Caps
the,
Convention,
Paranormal
Rock Down.
Lockdown.
Yeah.
Yep.
and that's in July, right?
Yep, that's
Yep.
in July at Broadhead Manor.
Mhm.
Every year, you can always catch me the second weekend of August up here at the Veterans Powwow, like I was just telling
Mm-hmm.
Leigh about. Other than that, I don't have much going. You might catch me in the beginning of May up in Escanaba.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, May
She's
3rd.
Yeah, May
building the
3rd for the
sweat.
Hiawatha.
Oh, no. Then I don't know what you're talking about.
Hiawatha was it Health and Wellness Fair.
Yeah, Hiawatha Health and Wellness Fair.
Yep, I think I'm gonna go again this year.
Cool.
I'll know for sure next few days, so keep tuned
Yeah.
for all those up in the Escanaba area and that wanted me to come back and visit them, and so hopefully I can make things happen. Other than that, I haven't been booking much yet. No one's really been reaching out, and I haven't really been pounding the old internet to see what's out there. If people want to contact me, get a hold of me, want me to come out to your event, do whatever,
So
feel free.
you're officially invited to the Fallen Outdoors Bigfoot
Okay, I can
Bigfoot
dig that.
expedition.
Awesome.
Hank the Tank will not be there. I will be in a tent.
I got one of them.
Okay, good. Because there's not a lot of electrical sites out there, and
Right.
everybody else is going to be in a tent. So, I don't
Yeah.
want to be the queen in the camper.
You don't want to glamp? No glamping for you that weekend.
No glamping that weekend.
Yeah. So let's just I want to tap into the CAPS
Yep.
conference again because I just want everyone to know that it's May 10th,
9th, 10th.
9th, 10th, and 11th. The 10th and
Yep.
11th are at the Doubletree
Nope,
in
the
Appleton.
10th is at the
Apple
The
tree.
is Applety.
Yeah.
The vendors and
Doubletree in
speak
Appleton, not
Yep.
Apple Tree.
The double apple
in
tree.
Appleton. Yeah,
You're welcome, Barnaby. It's at the double apple tree. Sorry.
Oh, God bless us.
Yeah, right.
So, from what I was told,
Yeah.
unless it's
Yeah.
changed,
No.
the main
Yeah.
day of the conference or the convention, whatever you want to
Mm-hmm.
consider it to be, will be at the Doubletree in Appleton. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one day. The day before is going to be the VIP dinner and a Bigfoot hike. The day after is the paranormal investigations of
There's
Bean
two.
Snappers slash Gainer's Tavern
Okay. And where is the dinner and Bigfoot hike going to be?
up in Oconto County, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going
So,
to be north of us for that.
yeah.
Well, even north of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe
Yeah.
a little east
It's
of
an
me,
hour and a half away from my campsite.
right?
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
maybe you should be camping over by me instead. I'm
And
only
then
45 minutes from,
Saturday at the convention, there's going to be speakers, vendors, psychics, gallery reading by Angela Zabel, and it says, and more. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
yep, there's going to be a lot of interesting stuff going on there.
And that's
And,
where Scott and Hannah Valet from Squatch America, they're guest speakers there. So
Yeah.
yep.
Yep.
that's cool.
So, and I'm just warning everybody now with the amount of people on Facebook that have showed interest into this
Mm-hmm.
and have said that they're going, do
Get
yourself a favor, get your tickets in advance online.
Yeah.
because they're
I
discounted.
That, and I'd hate to have you show up the day of the event and I'll already be at max capacity by the time you get there.
Yeah.
And also, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean
Oh,
to
go ahead.
interrupt you.
I just don't want to turn people away from the door.
I totally understand that.
VIRUTAL. You can do it virtually for
That's what I
$5,
was
I
just going to
believe.
say,
Yeah.
virtually for $5. And there is, if you go into the, I don't know, well, people on the, I don't know who's going to be able to see this, but there is a QR code on there that you can scan.
Yep.
So go
So
to the
yeah,
Wisconsin Caps page
go to
and
the
find
Wisconsin
it.
Caps page on Facebook. Do you know if it's being advertised anywhere else?
It's all over Facebook. It's on our website. I'm pretty sure he's got a bunch of other places also.
Like probably
You know,
YouTube and
Yeah.
maybe
yeah,
TikTok or yeah.
And the hairy man from Dairyland world
yeah,
premiere
yeah,
will be happening there.
yes.
And
Wow.
if you can't go, if you get the virtual ticket, you'll have access to it for a month after the convention.
Yes.
See, Barnaby, I do listen to you.
And we are
Problem is
putting in a
he don't listen
big
to
plug.
us.
Yeah.
And we are putting in a big plug for that. So I'm
Oh, we
excited
have
about
to.
that.
That's
That's
the
going to be
home team.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you're not an official member, but you come out and help us when
I'm
we
an
need.
affiliate.
Yes, you're
Mhm.
affiliate.
I'm an
When we need you,
affiliate.
you're there for
Yeah.
us. Lee,
Yeah.
she's the biggest cheerleader and friend to the team that we have.
Yes.
You know, Lee literally tunes into every show that we do, whether it be Barnaby shows, our shows,
Mhm.
Christina's shows. She's not
Yeah.
only a friend, but
Yeah.
she's just out there for us.
If it's
She's
not
got
up
our
by
back.
4 o'clock, I'm like, hey, where's
Oh
my
yeah.
Red Row
She has
Paranormal?
messaged me and said, "Where's the show?"
Yeah.
And I do have two other shows since you brought it up.
Yes. And I can watch
Yes.
them.
I have a show called Paramystic Christina. It's on YouTube, and it's the paranormal and the mystical combined, which is where the word paramystic came from. So I have all kinds of guests on there, paranormal, mystical, healers. Um, that's a fun show too. And sometimes I do it just by myself. I just sit there and talk. And if you want to listen, great. And if you don't, sorry, I'll try to be more interesting next time. And
If you don't want to listen, change the channel. Come back later.
yeah, come back later. It'll be more
And
fun.
I even though because we're not quite there yet and you guys can't be live, I still comment.
I
Right.
know.
Well, I go back and look at the comments. A lot of
I do
times
too.
the hearts that end up on the comments, that's a lot of them are
Yep.
me.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So
And
yeah.
then I have a third YouTube channel called Breakfast with Bobby. And my other
It's all
co-host
over
is
the
also
place.
named Bobby, but it's a different Bobby. Her name is
Not me,
Bobby
no.
Klebano.
And just want to say, my mom, if she would have had her way, my name would have been Roberta Lee, and she wanted to call me Bobby Lee.
Mhm.
Ah, there you go.
I would
There
But
rather
you
my
just call
go.
you
but my dad
Berta.
was a Robert, and he Bob, and he didn't want another Bob in the family.
See, that was my problem. That's why I was Rob and Robbie growing up.
Uh-huh.
Because my old man was Bob. He didn't want a Bobby. He didn't want a junior. So I'm the second. And they called me Robert Robbie until high school happened. And there's too many Robs and Roberts and Bobs. And I was like, just, I'm a Bobby now.
Yeah, there you go. I
Yeah,
tried to call
so
him Bobby on a different show and I just couldn't do it. It just
Yeah,
doesn't
couldn't
it
work for
just,
me.
not Rez.
It's just
yeah, there's a
Rez.
lot
He's
of
just
people like
Rez.
that.
Yeah.
I am who I
When
am.
I
Yep.
was young and out and didn't want people really to know my name would be Bobby. Who are you? My name's Bobby Lee because it was almost my name. But
Oh,
and one
Bobby
thing where the
Lay.
L.A. Warner came from was when I was in the Air Force, our name tags, people,
Mm-hmm.
because I flew in the Air Force and you would have your first and your last name on there. And I didn't like people who didn't know me come up and say, "Hey, Lee," and my name's spelled Leigh, so they would mispronounce it. They would call me Leah or Lay or something like that.
Right.
So I always had L.A. Warner on my name tag because if you didn't know my name, you were calling me Sergeant Warner
There you go.
Yeah.
instead of instead of trying to be familiar with me and calling me Lay
So
or
Yeah.
I gotta
Leah.
ask you this. If I would have walked up to you, mispronounced your name, would you told me to drop and give you 20?
I wasn't a TI.
Okay.
But I can, if you want me to, I can still tell you to drop and give me 20.
Well, I might have a 5 on me. I don't think I got that much. So
Yeah,
do you take an IOU?
sure.
Cash
That's
app. I can do
awesome.
that.
Lee, I have had so much fun having you on the show. This has been
Oh,
great. I can't believe it took this long.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, and you guys put out who wants to be on the show? I'm like, I'll be on the show. I'll talk about my alien abductions that I don't really
awesome.
remember.
Yeah.
Right.
But I thought
Aliens
it would,
and Bigfoot.
and Bigfoot
Uh,
and
Yeah.
my journey with
your
the help of
intuition. Yeah.
I call my guru, my teacher, Christina helping, and of course Rez with our because I have been camping with Rez quite a few
Yes.
times.
Yeah.
And our late night talks, Rez is also one of my teachers and
Yeah.
helpers too.
I
So,
love it. I love those. Campfire talks are the best, aren't
oh
they?
yeah,
Yes.
yes
Yes,
I
they
I
are.
agree.
love campfire talks.
Mm-hmm.
Campfire
Yeah.
talks are awesome. Maybe we should do one of those this summer.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
But what's the
Yeah.
chances of all of us together in one spot in the woods to have a campfire talk? We're all
One
busy
word,
schedules.
2 words, sacred waterways.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Well, we got
Well,
multiple options.
we
I got
got
a huge
multiple
backyard
options.
too.
Yeah,
I got 5 acres
absolutely.
of lands in the woods.
There you go.
Oh.
We could do that
Well,
too.
I'm coming up there in August for a veterans powwow.
Yeah.
Oh, and I know this is Red Road
Yeah.
Paranormal. And my dad always used to call me, Rez has heard this before. My dad always used to call me the last of his Mohicans. And my sister is Oneida, so I always thought I was Native American. I'm not. But I had my DNA done. I'm 43% Scottish.
Oh,
So
wow.
Oh yeah, there
I
you go.
am the native British of
There
Britain
you go.
because they were the ones that when they got conquered by the the Brits that
Hmm.
they couldn't wear their tartans anymore. They couldn't speak Gaelic anymore. So the Scottish were, and the Irish too, but the Scottish were the most that were treated like Native Americans by the conquering British people.
Yeah.
And for
Oh,
those that don't know, Mohican blood over here, baby.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Abs
I always thought I was,
So we family. We family, girl.
Yeah,
It's
we
yeah.
okay. We
family.
family.
And I like to go in the woods. So, hey,
Right?
Well,
You've
I
chased me in
just
the woods a few times already.
Jesus.
yeah, I found a really big birch stick.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
It sounds much,
Awesome.
yeah. And I know his wife, Tammy, and I love her.
Yes.
And she knows the truth that
Yeah,
we were
she
we
knows
were
all
out there
about it.
searching for Bigfoot signs. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sounds worse than it
Yeah,
is.
she's an amazing lady to let me run away with all you women all the time.
Yeah.
And then left me at a retreat full of women, only guy there, up at Sacred Waters.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Is she hoping someone else is going to take you home or?
I don't know. Hope maybe that might be a stray dog and follow someone away or something. I
Who
don't know.
knows, right?
Learn something new, make her happy. You
I'm sorry.
know.
That was a rude comment, but I knew you'd take it with a grain of salt.
Oh yeah.
And you know,
Hey,
Tamara,
what her big
she's on
sisters
Facebook
wear,
right now going, who wants them?
Yeah,
right?
right.
Someone give me offers.
Someone give me an offer.
Yeah. Today is better. $100. $50. $50. Sold at $50. 25. 5.
I think you don't
Any
know how to
bidders?
auctioneer.
Well,
You're
you gotta
going the wrong way.
That's the problem. No one bids. You have to keep going down until someone bites. Then you have to work your way back up if it's possible.
Oh, there you go. There you
You
go.
got to get them
Yeah.
excited about
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I will be on Barnaby's show
Ooh.
live on
Yeah.
April 17th.
Oh,
So
Nice.
I think I am because it's
paranormal spectrum.
spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
so he wants me to not talk about Bigfoot. He wants me to
Okay.
talk about aliens. So
Okay.
so by then,
So you just got the scoop first here.
yeah, you got the scoop first there, but
All right,
I'm
Barn.
thinking that I need to do a little regression with Christina
Before then?
before then. So
Okay.
maybe I have a little more details to provide.
All right. Well, hit me up. We'll make an appointment.
Ladies, make sure you videotape it so in case she freaks the F out, you know what happens and we can still tell the story.
That is entirely up to her. I do not videotape my clients. So, but if she wants to
Learn
be
from the
videotaped,
movies. It's based
yeah,
on real life.
Yeah,
that
well,
would be
you
up to
know,
Leigh. She would have to agree to that.
yeah,
Uh,
I probably would agree, but I would need to see it before I let it air.
Yeah,
I'm not talking
exactly.
airing it, because here's the
Oh,
thing. If it comes down to us having to air it, it means you went off the deep end and, just like the movies. Then we ain't got to worry about permission. But as long as you don't go off the deep end, you have it for your own personal
well, you know
record.
me, I'm just so shy and reserved. I
Yes,
don't know if
yes, we
I could
know.
do that.
Just say fifth kind.
Yeah,
Watch it.
yeah.
Fourth
Watch
kind.
out for those.
Yeah. But I was going to say, so I don't know if Zach is still in because April 5th is first contact day for all of my other Star Trek geeks. That's the day that Zach Ephraim first did warp speed and the Vulcans on Star Trek made contact with Earth people. So I had
Okay.
suggested to Zach that would be an excellent day just to have a single day of a CE5.
Is
Let's
that
do
a
it on first.
weekend? Is that a
Yeah,
weekend?
it's on a Saturday this
Okay,
year.
okay. All
So
right.
yeah, so I was like, hey, Star Trek Day, that would be a good day to do a CE5. So, maybe we'll get some videotape that I can bring to Barnaby's show and I can do some regression and maybe find out a little more details.
There we go.
There you go. You got a plan.
Yeah. All right. Hit me up for that. And for everyone else, remember to follow us by subscribing, ring the notification bell, and share this with everyone. Invite people to join the page because
Please.
we really have so much great content and we just want to share it with everyone. So thank you all very much. Thank you, Leigh. You have been an amazing guest.
Well, thank you for
And,
having me on the show and let me ramble.
You ramble very, very well.
Yes.
You are understandable in your ramblings, so that's wonderful. All right, everyone, take care. Until next time.